Hello everyone, I am the CrimsonCadaveress wishing you a very happy Libra New Moon, which peaks on October 6th at 6:04 a.m. Central Time. And with this new moon in the sign of Libra, we're asked to seek beauty and balance in our lives. I've put together an exercise for us to do revolving around seeking balance in our lives. And I'm going to pull some tarot and oracle cards for us to see if Spirit has something to say about this new moon. But I'd love to discuss the energy of this new moon first. So like I said, this is in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of seeking balance. And I specifically say seeking balance because when we think about Libra, the symbol for it is the scales. A lot of times we see those scales out of balance. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Libra is balanced, it's that Libra recognizes the need to seek balance. So Libra is the ruler of the 7th house, which the 7th house is the house of partnerships. So a lot of times with Libra, we're thinking about our partnerships and relationships with other people. It is ruled by the planet of Venus, which of course is the planet of love. So a lot of things come up with like romance and other relationships revolving around Libra. But I've had a pretty powerful message come through from Spirit around this particular Libra new moon, and that the balance and beauty that we're supposed to be seeking is actually within ourselves. And the partnership that we're supposed to be seeking is that with ourselves. So I think it's really important to remember that balance actually comes from putting ourselves first. Whenever we're trying to give too much to other people without taking care of ourselves, that's when we're out of balance. So for us to seek balance in life, we have to put ourselves first. We need to, with this new moon, initiate a new partnership with ourselves where we find a way of showing ourselves unconditional love so that we can show the rest of the world love. So like I said, I put together an exercise, which is actually a really simple exercise. I feel kind of silly even calling it an exercise because all we're doing is making a couple of lists and making a commitment to ourselves. So we are going to make 2 lists. You can take a piece of paper, split it in half, and on one side you want to say like, and on the other side you want to say dislike. And the reason why we're doing it this way is because we are going to discuss some things that I like to call shadow self, some aspects about ourselves that we don't like. Whenever we want to do that, we always want to, especially with the Libra energy, balance that out by discussing things we do like about ourselves first. You never want to just hit yourself with like, I hate all these things about myself and just leave it at that. No, again, we're seeking balance. We want to make sure we talk about the things that we like about ourselves first. So first, make that like list. List out everything that you like about yourself. You've got a good sense of humor, you're a hard worker, you're a good mother, you like the way you look, whatever it is that you like about yourself, list it. List it all, anything, that you can think of that you like about yourself. And then of course we're going to the other side of that list, the dislike side, and you're going to write down the things that you don't like about yourself. Now, first thing you're going to want to do when you read this list is you're going to want to try and change all these things. And that's not what this is about. This is not necessarily about changing those things about yourself. You can always work on those things. That's not what this exercise is about, though. This is about seeking balance through unconditional love for yourself. So you need to take that list, that dislike list, and don't even focus on changing it, focus on loving it, because it's a part of you. And again, we're trying to, focus on unconditional love for ourselves to seek balance. So we have to love the parts of ourselves that we don't like. That is actually all I'm going to ask you guys to do for this new moon, is initiate this relationship with yourself. It's almost like, a new partnership where you're like, I love it all. I'm not just going to, be conditional about this love. I'm not just going to, like the things that I like about it. I'm going to love it all. So over the next month, I'm going to ask that you take this list, especially the dislike list, and contemplate it and send those things love. Send those things that you don't like about yourself love. and make a commitment to yourself today, as you're watching this, as, we're going into this new moon, that you're entering into an unconditional love partnership with yourself. And, write yourself a note and put it on your refrigerator, whatever you need to do to remind yourself that you need to love yourself and that you need to love all of you. So that's really the only thing I, have you guys doing for an exercise this time. I did it, and this is kind of going to be, my contract to myself that I am, working on just loving myself unconditionally and not trying to change that aspect about myself. So I wanted to pull some cards today, and I want to tell you guys, when I was setting up for this video, I was kind of shuffling my cards and stuff, and I did not make this up at all. I promise you, this is just kind of what Spirit did. But the two cards that came up on the bottom of both of my decks, my tarot deck and one of my oracle decks, are very much Libra cards. So the first card that was on the bottom of my tarot deck is the Justice card, which is the card that symbolizes Libra in tarot. So I thought that was really cool. But then I started shuffling my oracle deck, and the card that came out on the bottom of that was the scales. So again, a card, perfect for Libra, represented by the scales, all about balance. I promise you, I, did not plan that. I just thought that was really cool. I wanted to point that out to everybody before, I actually started pulling cards. But I do want to pull some cards and see what Spirit has to say to us about this. Obviously, we're seeking balance. That's quite obvious. We get Justice, we get the scales. Oh, something came out. Let's see what we got. Okay, I'm so glad that this card came out, because this is so important for us to talk about, and I did not even discuss this in the exercise at all, but it's very important. So we pulled the Six of Wands, and as you see, Alice is sitting down, putting that crown on her head, and what the Six of Wands represents is celebrating your victories, sitting with your accomplishments, and the thing about that is, it's a form of gratitude, and specifically a form of gratitude for yourself. And if we're talking about, entering into this committed partnership with ourselves where we love ourselves unconditionally, we have to show ourselves gratitude. We need to show gratitude for all the things in our life, that matter, of course, but we definitely need to show ourselves gratitude. We have gone through a lot of crazy stuff over the last, 18 months, couple of years, whatever you want to say. But you know what? If you're watching this video, you've survived it. So that's something, even if you feel as though you've accomplished nothing else in your life, you have survived the last 18 months. So that in itself, you need to show gratitude for. And that's a way of loving yourself, is to show gratitude for your accomplishments, show gratitude for your life. Oh, this came out and it wants to talk to us. Death. Death is the card of transformation. So a lot of times we get death, and, if you don't understand tarot, you're going to go, oh, I'm going to die. That's not what death is. Death is endings. Death is making room for new beginnings. So when something dies, you're allowing for a transformation. You're allowing for something to change and for something new to come in. So with this new moon, and planets starting to go direct and everything that's going on, it is definitely a time to let things die that don't need to be a part of our lives, but it's also a time to, realize that when things are dying, you're making space for new things. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Hermit. So the Hermit talks about contemplation. It talks about taking time for yourself. Definitely really important right now. When we're talking about starting this love affair with ourselves, we're kind of going off on our own a little bit. We do still have relationships with other people. We do still have the outside world, but again, we need to put ourselves first. We need to put ourselves first. We're not going to be able to truly love anyone else until we love ourselves first. That is the most important. Judgment. So judgment is a little bit on the justice side. It's kind of like justice. It kind of just is what I think about when I think about judgment right now is we need to be compassionate with our judgment of ourselves. So, you know, it's easy, especially when things are kind of crazy, to just kind of blame everything on yourself and, you know, just be hard on yourself. But again, if we're going to love ourselves unconditionally, we don't want to be hard on ourselves. We don't want to judge ourselves without compassion. I'm going to pull one more card from this Oracle deck because I think there's one more message for us. But yeah, we need to be kinder to ourselves. We need to not be so judgmental of ourselves. You know, if we're worried about being judgmental of other people, it's probably because we're actually judging ourselves. So, something came out. Oh, okay. This is definitely, it fell in my lap. This is, a couple of them. Okay. Well, this one in particular, I'm happy that we pulled. So this is the Architect card. So the Architect card is to remind us that we are the creator of our own lives. So the Architect visualizes what they want to create, and they create it. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to visualize being in a loving relationship with yourself so that you can create that loving relationship with yourself. So that's what the Architect wants to tell us today. And finally, we got Memory. So the Memory card wants us to remember a time when we did fully love ourselves. And maybe that was just when we were a little kid, before, you know, we had all these like defense mechanisms and, you know, all these adults in our lives telling us how we're supposed to act. Remember when you were a kid and you just loved yourself and you didn't really care about what other people thought? Maybe you need to get back to that level of childlike enthusiasm. And when you get back to that place of childlike enthusiasm, create something wonderful. You know, this new moon is a great energy to create new things, especially with the Libra energy, you know, which loves beauty. So you should be able to create something very beautiful. And if the only thing that you're creating with this new moon, like we discussed, is a beautiful relationship with yourself, then you've already won. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please share the video. Please comment to me just, you know, about anything that you're thinking about with it. And if you do this exercise and how it goes, I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're interested in a tarot reading, please reach out to me. But I want to wish you all a wonderful, beautiful Libra new moon. And I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.